Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explore three very common but very confusing English words. Those words are across, via, and through. Have you ever stopped while speaking English and wondered which one of these words is correct in a sentence? Should you say I walked across the road, I walked through the road, or I walked via the road? If yes, then this lecture is exactly for you. English learners often mix up these words because all three can talk about movement, direction, travel, connection, or passing from one place to another. But the truth is that each word has its own unique meaning, feeling, and use. Native speakers use them naturally because they understand the subtle differences between them. Today, by the end of this lecture, you will also understand those differences clearly. This lecture is going to be detailed, engaging, and practical. We will discuss the meaning of each word, their grammar, their real-life usage, the differences between them, common mistakes learners make, and many examples that you can use in daily English conversations. We will also compare these words side by side so that you never become confused again. So get comfortable, focus carefully, and let us begin our journey with the word across. The word across is mainly used when something moves from one side to another side. It usually suggests movement on a surface or from one point to another point that is opposite. Think of it as crossing something horizontally. For example, imagine a road. If you move from one side of the road to the other side, you move across the road. Across often gives the image of crossing over something. It can be used for roads, rivers, fields, cities, rooms, tables, oceans, and many other things. One important thing to remember is that across usually focuses on the surface or area being crossed. Let us look at the basic structure. Across plus noun. For example, across the street, across the river, across the world, across the room. Now let us understand different uses of across in detail. The first use of across is physical movement from one side to another. Examples. She ran across the playground. The dog jumped across the fence. We walked across the bridge. A bird flew across the sky. The child swam across the river. In all these examples, movement starts on one side and ends on another side. The second use of across is for position. Sometimes across does not show movement. Instead, it shows location on the opposite side. For example, my friend lives across the street. The bank is across the road. There is a school across the river. In these sentences, across tells us that something is on the opposite side. The third use of across is spreading over an area. Examples. The news spread across the country. English is spoken across the world. The company has offices across Europe. His influence reached across many communities. Here across means throughout or over a large area. The fourth use of across is communication or connection. Examples. We talked across the table. She shouted across the room. He sent his message across the network. Now let us discuss some deeper understanding of across. Across often creates a visual image. Imagine a straight line going from one side to another. That is the feeling of across. For example, the cat ran across the roof. You can almost see the cat moving from one edge to another edge. Now let us look at 5 strong example sentences for across. Example 1. The travelers walked across the desert for many days before reaching the village. Example 2. A beautiful rainbow stretched across the sky after the storm ended. Example 3. The teacher looked across the classroom and smiled at the students. Example 4. The athlete swam across the lake despite the cold weather. Example 5. The internet allows people to communicate across the world instantly. Now let us move toward the second word, via. Via is a very interesting word because it comes from Latin. It basically means by way of or through the route of. It is often used when talking about routes, methods, transportation, communication, or means of doing something. Via sounds more formal than across or through. You will often hear it in travel announcements, business English, official communication, news reports, and professional conversations. For example, we traveled to Lahore via Islamabad. This means Islamabad was part of the route. The easiest way to understand via is this. Via tells us the medium, route, or method used to reach something. Let us study its uses carefully. The first use of via is for routes and travel. Examples. We flew to Turkey via Dubai. The train goes to Karachi via Multan. They reached the village via a mountain road. The package was sent via air mail. In all these examples, via explains the route or method of transportation. The second use of via is communication. Examples. He contacted me via email. She sent the documents via WhatsApp. We spoke via video call. The news was shared via social media. Here via means by using a certain communication method. The third use of via is process or method. Examples. Success comes via hard work. The company expanded via online marketing. The disease spreads via contaminated water. In these sentences, via explains how something happens. One important thing about via is that it does not usually create the image of physical crossing like a cross does. Instead, it focuses on the channel, route, or means. Now let us look at 5 powerful example sentences for via. Example 1. The tourists traveled to the ancient city via a narrow mountain road. Example 2. The manager sent the important files via email before the meeting started. Example 3. The message spread quickly via social media platforms. Example 4. The patient received treatment via a special medical procedure. Example 5. We reached our destination via the highway because it was faster. Now let us move toward the third word, through. Through is one of the most flexible and powerful words in English. It usually means entering one side of something and coming out from the other side while passing inside it. This is very important. Across usually focuses on the surface or open area. Through focuses on movement inside something. Imagine a tunnel. If you go inside the tunnel and come out on the other side, you move through the tunnel. Imagine a forest. If you walk inside the forest and continue until you exit, you walk through the forest. This feeling of internal passage is the heart of through. Now let us study its uses in detail. The first use of through is physical movement inside something. Examples. We walked through the forest. The train passed through the tunnel. She pushed her way through the crowd. Sunlight came through the window. In all these examples, something passes inside an area or object. The second use of through is completion. Examples. I read through the entire book. She worked through the night. We went through all the documents. Here through means from beginning to end. The third use of through is experiencing difficulty. Examples. He went through a hard time. She is going through stress. The country went through an economic crisis. This use is extremely common in spoken English. The fourth use of through is method or means. Examples. I learned English through practice. They succeeded through teamwork. The information came through a friend. In this case, through can sometimes be similar to via, but through sounds more natural and less formal. The fifth use of through is communication connection. Examples. Can you get through to him on the phone? The signal came through clearly. Your message finally came through. Now let us deeply understand the visual difference between across and through. Imagine a field. If you walk on the surface from one side to another side, you walk across the field. But imagine a forest. If you move inside the trees and continue until the other side, you walk through the forest. Across often suggests open spaces. Through often suggests enclosed spaces, crowded spaces, or spaces with depth. Now let us look at 5 strong example sentences for through. Example 1. The hikers moved slowly through the dense jungle during the storm. Example 2. She read through every page carefully before signing the contract. Example 3. The country went through many challenges before achieving stability. Example 4. A ray of sunlight passed through the clouds and brightened the valley. Example 5. He learned valuable lessons through years of experience. Now let us compare across, via, and through side by side because this is where most learners become confused. First comparison. Across versus through. Look at these 2 sentences. The boy ran across the field. The boy ran through the field. Both are possible, but the feeling changes. Across the field focuses on crossing from one side to another over the surface. Through the field suggests movement inside the field, perhaps among tall grass or obstacles. Another example. We walked across the park. We walked through the park. Across the park focuses on crossing the park. Through the park focuses on moving inside the park environment. Now let us compare via and through. Sentence 1. I received the message via email. Sentence 2. I received the message through email. Both can work, but via sounds more formal and professional. Through sounds more conversational and natural. Another example. We traveled via London. We traveled through London. These 2 are different. Via London means London was part of the route. Through London means you physically moved inside the city while traveling. That is a very important difference. Now let us compare across and via. These 2 are usually not interchangeable because they belong to different ideas. Across mostly talks about crossing areas or surfaces. Via mostly talks about routes, methods, or means. For example, he swam across the river. Correct. He swam via the river. Incorrect in normal English because via does not describe physical crossing like that. Now let us discuss common mistakes English learners make. Mistake 1. Incorrect. We walked via the road. Correct. We walked along the road. Or, we traveled via that road. Why? Because via talks about route or means, not the act of walking on a surface. Mistake 2. Incorrect. The train went across the tunnel. Correct. The train went through the tunnel. Why? Because the train moved inside the tunnel. Mistake 3. Incorrect. The message came across email. Correct. The message came via email. Or, the message came through email. Mistake 4. Incorrect. We drove through the bridge. Correct. We drove across the bridge. Why? Because you move on the surface of a bridge, not inside it. Now let us discuss some advanced usage and expressions. Across can also appear in phrasal expressions. For example, come across, meaning to find unexpectedly. Example, I came across an old photograph while cleaning my room. Another expression, get across, meaning to communicate successfully. Example, the teacher got her point across clearly. Now let us look at via in advanced usage. Via is heavily used in technology and professional communication. Examples, payment via bank transfer, login via Google account, communication via satellite, delivery via courier service. This makes via very important in modern English. Now through has many idiomatic uses. For example, through thick and thin, meaning during both good and bad times. Example, true friends stay together through thick and thin. Another example, go through with something, meaning to complete or continue something planned. Example, she went through with the surgery despite her fears. Another example, breakthrough, meaning to overcome a barrier. Example: scientists made a breakthrough in medical research. Now let us create a practical real-life situation using all three words together. Listen carefully. We traveled across the desert via an old highway and passed through several small villages before reaching the city. Notice the difference. Across the desert means crossing the desert area. Via an old highway explains the route. Through several villages means moving inside those villages. This sentence beautifully shows the unique role of each word. Now let us study more detailed examples to strengthen your understanding. Across examples in daily life. The children ran across the beach laughing loudly. Her voice echoed across the hall. The ship sailed across the ocean. A smile spread across his face. The rumor spread across the school quickly. Via examples in daily life. I booked the tickets via a mobile app. The company hired workers via online interviews. We communicated via text messages. The medicine is administered via injection. The documents arrived via courier. Through examples in daily life. The river flows through the valley. He slept through the entire movie. The firefighters moved through the smoke bravely. She achieved success through dedication. The road passes through the mountains. Now let us discuss grammar patterns. Across is mainly used as a preposition and adverb. Examples: the ball rolled across the floor. Come across quickly. Via is mainly used as a preposition. Examples: sent via mail. Reached via train. Through can be a preposition, adverb, and adjective. Examples: we walked through the rain. The train went through. This is a through road. Now let us understand emotional and stylistic differences. Across often feels visual and physical. Through often feels deeper, immersive, or experiential. Via often feels technical, formal, or method-based. For example, she looked across the river. This feels visual. She struggled through the crisis. This feels emotional and experiential. She sent the report via email. This feels formal and technical. Now let us do a quick practice section. I will give a sentence idea, and we will choose the correct word. Sentence: the airplane traveled from Pakistan to Canada with a stop in Dubai. Correct answer: via. The airplane traveled to Canada via Dubai. Next sentence: the child moved from one side of the playground to the other side. Correct answer: across. The child ran across the playground. Next sentence: the hikers moved inside the cave until they exited. Correct answer: through. The hikers walked through the cave. Next sentence: the information was delivered using WhatsApp. Correct answer: via. The information was sent via WhatsApp. Next sentence: light entered inside the room from the glass window. Correct answer: through. Light came through the window. Excellent. Now let us move toward advanced comparison examples because advanced learners often struggle with subtle meanings. Example 1. The bird flew across the sky. This focuses on movement from one side of the sky to another. The bird flew through the clouds. This focuses on movement inside the clouds. Example 2. We drove across the country. This means crossing from one side of the country to another. We drove through the country. This means traveling within the country, experiencing its regions and roads. The difference is subtle but important. Example 3. The disease spread through the population. This means it moved among people internally. The news spread across the population. This means it reached many people over a wide area. Now let us discuss pronunciation because correct pronunciation is very important for YouTube voiceover and spoken English. Across. Pronounced as across. Via. Pronounced as via or sometimes via depending on accent. Through. Pronounced as through. Many learners struggle with through because of the th sound. Put your tongue slightly between your teeth and push air gently. Through. Practice slowly. Through. Through the tunnel. Through the rain. Through the forest. Now let us create a mini story using all three words naturally. Last summer, my friends and I traveled across northern Pakistan via the Karakoram Highway. During our journey, we passed through beautiful valleys, tunnels, and mountain villages. We saw rivers flowing across the land and clouds moving through the peaks. We shared our experiences via social media and spoke with travelers from across the world. The entire adventure helped us grow through new experiences and unforgettable memories. Notice how naturally these words can work together. Now let us explore some professional and academic usage. Across in professional English. The company operates across multiple countries. Research was conducted across several universities. The policy applies across all departments. Via in professional English. Applications must be submitted via the online portal. Communication occurred via encrypted channels. Funds were transferred via bank transaction. Through in professional English. Growth was achieved through innovation. The organization survived through difficult times. Data passed through several security checks. Now let us discuss a powerful memory trick for each word. Across. Think of a straight horizontal crossing from one side to another. Via. Think of a route, medium, or method. Through. Think of entering inside something and exiting from the other side. These mental images will help you remember the differences forever. Now let us do one final comparison set. Across the bridge. Correct because you move on the surface from one side to another. Through the tunnel. Correct because you move inside the tunnel. Via the highway. Correct because the highway is the route used. Across the ocean. Correct because it describes crossing. Through the crowd. Correct because movement happens inside people. Via email. Correct because email is the communication method. Now let us discuss why mastering these small words is important. Many English learners focus only on difficult vocabulary, but native level fluency often depends on small words like prepositions. Words such as across, via, and through appear everywhere in conversations, movies, books, business communication, and exams. Using the wrong one can make your English sound unnatural. But using them correctly immediately makes your English sound more fluent, intelligent, and professional. Imagine saying, "The report was sent via email." That sounds professional. Or, "We struggled through difficult times." That sounds natural and emotional. Or, "The athlete ran across the field." That sounds vivid and visual. Small words create big impact. Before we finish, let us quickly revise everything. Across means from one side to another side, usually over a surface or open area. Via means by way of, using, or through a certain route, method, or medium. Through means entering inside something and exiting from the other side, or experiencing something deeply or completely. Across is about crossing. Via is about route or method. Through is about internal passage or experience. Now your confusion between these three words should be completely clear. Thank you so much for watching and learning with me today. Keep practicing these words in your daily speaking and writing. Try creating your own sentences using across, via, and through because practice is the fastest way to master English. The more you use these words naturally, the more confident and fluent you will become. Until next time, keep learning, keep improving, and keep moving forward through the beautiful journey of English language mastery.